Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to Teacher Tuesday. This week I wanted to show you what I've been doing while I've been at home the last couple months because I can only check my emails and refresh Class Dojo and refresh our Google Classroom so many times without going crazy. So I want to show you what I've been doing to stay productive and to keep getting ready, for next year, because we don't know how it's going to come yet, but next year is going to come. So I wanted to show you the projects I've been working on. So one of the things that I bought off of Teachers Pay Teachers was a math enrichment / math activity curriculum set, and I bought it for 2nd grade because that's what I've been teaching, and it's called Toothy. So there's a Toothy game that you play where students get a big mat that looks like I think it's a melon head. I'll show you if I can. That character down at the bottom, that type of drawing, I guess, which I think is a melon head. It might not be. Don't quote me on that. But they get a mat, like a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper inside of a sleeve or a laminated piece, and it has a big version of one of these characters on it with their mouth just like that, where there's no teeth in it, and then at the bottom they have an answer box, and they play the game with a partner, and they basically draw cards based on whatever topic we're working on, and they try and answer it in the box, and then they compare with the answer on the back, and if they're correct, then they get to draw a mouth or a tooth in the mouth of their person, which is kind of fun. So I'm gonna try this out this next year just as a centers activity for them on, I think, Fridays. Of course, that is completely dependent upon our schedule for next year, but I have 6 little decks of cards. It depends on how big. It depends on the subject, how big the stack is, because these problems are going to take my kids quite a while to actually solve. So there's only 10 cards in here, but then some of them have much bigger stacks because they're very quick questions to answer. So there's 6 in here, 1 for each table group. And then I have 2 of these, hold on, 2 of these big containers full of these cards. And they're all different, topics that we're going to cover next year in 2nd grade math. So geometry, skip counting. So that's what I've been doing, is I've been printing these, cutting these out, laminating them, and then making stacks so that way they're different sets. I don't want all the sets to be the exact same because that would not make it very fun if we would do rotating centers. So that's what I've been doing with those. I'm really excited to try them out, and I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes next year when we get started. And then the other big thing that I've been working on has been an ELA focus, again, kind of like a curriculum, because we teach all of these, the language standards in 2nd grade, and the way I taught it last year, I didn't feel super confident in it. I was confident in the skill, but I wasn't very confident in how I was teaching it to make it entertaining and engaging and something that would stick for the kids. So I went on a TPT and I found a whole, set of activities. So of course this one's empty, but there are whole bundles of activities, worksheets, and things like that, and games for each language objective or language standard. And then for some of them there's even up to 5 different games. So I printed off all of the games and laminated them and cut them all out and put them in their own containers. So just for synonyms, we have an antonym match, a synonym match, and a synonyms and antonyms activity, which is task cards. And there's 3 of these just for the synonym and antonym unit that we're going to do, which we take a week for each standard or substandard, because there's so many little ones in the language section. And then with those games, there's obviously worksheets that I'll be using as practice, and even quizzes in the bundles as well. And then they have pages in the bundle with kind of posters of sorts that I actually have printed as well that I will post in my classroom. Things like, possessive nouns, with this example, what a noun is, and I'm going to post these on my cupboards that I have in my classroom. And then I've actually turned some of those into, I'm calling these smart cards right now, where I have a little mini version of each one of those like anchor charts basically that I'm going to give to each kid as we go through the topic. And then I'm thinking of having a hole punch with a ring in it, so that way at their desk they have a stack of cards that covers all of these different topics, kind of like little mini anchor charts that they can keep with them all year. I don't know how to work, but I'm going to try that. So like in here I have just a bunch of these that I've printed out, laminated, and cut out. I'm not done with these, but that's what I've been doing, is trying to get that ready. So I have these card games, which there's a lot of them. It is only one set, but I think we can play these pretty much whole class or just as like a writing center, so I'm not too concerned about having more than one set. Or like for this, this is adverbs and other parts of speech, and this is, you know, quite a big stack of cards in there, so that's at least like 2 groups could play at the same time. But there's a whole bunch of these, and then, I don't know, maybe next summer I'll make another set if I find that I want to have the whole class playing with more cards. I don't know, we'll see. So those are 2 of the biggest things that I've been doing while we've been away. So then besides just those 2 things, which are huge, I've also been making card sets for sight words and for our spelling words that we go over in 2nd grade. And what I did was I made 1 inch by I think about 6 inch long cards that just have one of the words on them. So if it was a spelling word, it would just have one spelling word. And we do our spelling where we're teaching rules, so I chose 10 of the most common words that they're going to come into or that they need to know in 2nd grade that follow that rule, and I printed them on a card that's about this big, and then I have the whole set of, you know, 10 words, and they are all the same color cardstock, and I printed them, laminated them, cut them out, and then at the top of the card, like this, if it was like this, at the top I have a hole punch and then a ring in it. So I have 3 sets for every single rule that we teach in 2nd grade for spelling, and those are going to be hanging up on hooks on like a wall in my classroom, which I will definitely show you once I get in there so I can, you know, set it up. So that way kids, whenever they want to, like in the afternoon, they can practice their spelling words and have a set of cards that they go up and grab, take their seat, do whatever practice, you know, activity they want to with them, and just practice their spelling words. And that way it's kind of like, again, almost like a little mini anchor chart where it's just always in our classroom that they can access and like practice their words. So I made 3 sets so that way, on average, I'll have about 12 kids with me after lunch in theory. Or at least that's how it was last year. I don't know about this year. So about half my class. So if I have 3 sets and I have rotating groups, then that's like 3 or 4 kids that would be practicing like word work or spelling. So that's when they would do that. So they can either work with a partner or by themselves, and that's why I have 3 sets. Also, just, you know, wear and tear. I don't want to have to be making a new set every other week for some reason. Also with those cards, I haven't made these ones yet, but I'm going to make the exact same thing for our sight words. I think for sight words I'm only going to make probably just 1 set of each list for sight words, just because there's so many lists. I think there's 62 of them, and the kids are all over the place anyway, and they don't practice them that often, but I do want it to be an option, because I think if it was available to them as readily as it will be with these cards, I think they're going to be a lot more likely to practice with their sight words. So I am going to make those, and I am doing the spelling and the sight words in rainbow, so like list 1 is red, list 2 is orange, list 3 is yellow, just to make my heart happy. So those I will show you when I get back in my classroom. Of course I don't have them here at home, I took them up to the school. But I'm definitely going to show you them when they're all set up too, because it's going to look really cool, because they're going to be hanging up in like rainbow color order. It's going to be so pretty. I'm very excited. Those are the big things I've been doing this summer for next year. But then for my kiddos that I still have for 1 more day this year, I've done a few things. So I've been making those postcards that I've briefly shown you, and I was sending those to the kids as a way to motivate them to get all their work done each week, because if they got their work done each week, then they would get one of those postcards in the mail, and those are pictures of my cats or myself on them, so it was a very personalized postcard that I made myself. And then over the summer, they have been given in that little goodie bag I showed you last week. They were given the flat teacher assignment, which had the choice board of activities they could do with their flat teachers, and then 3 flat teachers of me that were laminated and cut out for them. So that's something I've been working on here at home. And then finally, I just finished this up today actually, but they were assigned a digital memory book activity about, well, it was a week and a half before the school year ended, but that was last week. So it was like 2.5 weeks ago, and then they turned it in at the beginning of last week, right before the school year ended. So they were in charge of completing about 7 of the slides on this digital memory book. And it was already pre-made, so they just had to like type in answers to questions or bring in photos or things like that. So it wasn't very intensive. They weren't having to like create their own digital product, but they were editing it to their liking and their specific, memories, things like that. So that was really fun. And then today, actually, I compiled them all into one big PowerPoint and then shared that out with the families so that there's a like whole class memory book that they have now. So that was another thing I was working on, and that's what I've been doing for my kids for the end of the year and for next year. One other thing I just started working on yesterday, I made my Meet the Teacher letter for next year. I made that last night, and I printed them off, and I am going to mail them to my new kids, just so that way they have kind of like something to look forward to. Like, they know who in the world I am. I've only been at my school for 1 year, so they don't necessarily for sure know who I am. But this, letter has a picture of me and it has information about me. It doesn't tell them about our class because obviously I have no idea what that's going to look like yet, and that will come later on, either in person or, in the mail again when we get a lot closer to the school year starting. So this is just a little letter. I'm going to mail those out probably in like a week or so. I'm not like super concerned with getting it out right away. I also am waiting for some stamps to come in the mail. So I can mail those, but that's another thing I've been working on, was getting that ready, and it was something I found on Teachers Pay Teachers as well. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to talk to you about was, hey, we've been home for a few months. What have you been doing with all that time? Other than, like I said earlier, just worrying about my sweet darlings and trying to be the best distance learning teacher I can be. So it's been weird, but that is what I've been doing, and I definitely plan on showing you more of those kinds of projects over the summer as I take them on and complete them. So if you want to see those, you gotta make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to my channel, and I will see you in the next Teacher Tuesday video. Bye!